Many people fail to get the life they want because they treat their goals like a wish list. In dark psychology, we do not wish, we engineer. If you don't learn how to forcefully program your subconscious mind for the reality you desire, your current environment will keep you trapped forever. The most dangerous thing a human being can realize is this: you are not a passive observer of reality. You are a participant in its construction. Simply put, if you don't like something, change it. Quick story about myself. I used to be quick-tempered, spoke really fast, and lost my cool all the time. I hated it. I hated how much I was not in control. I hated how quickly my words ran out of my mouth. But then, my father was that way too. So what could I do? I was genetically that way. Until I decided that I, in fact, am not. I decided to learn to be even-tempered, to learn to pick my words one after the other and practice it over time. To learn to say I can decide who exactly to be instead of saying, this is how I am. So I learned to practice even temperance no matter what. And you know what? I did. I practiced it so hard I broke out of my gene. And now I have to speak quickly in this video so that you stay with me. Otherwise, I'm one of the most deliberate speakers you would ever listen to. What am I saying here? You are not an onlooker of your own life or a victim of it. You are the creator of it. So what are you creating? And what are you allowing? What are you allowing? Through thought, through attention, through meaning, through language, through belief, through choice, through imagination, through practice. The average person does not understand how much power exists inside consciousness itself. Because most people were taught powerlessness very early. We were taught limitation. We were taught obedience. We were taught fear. We were taught to shrink our perception of ourselves into something manageable. But every civilization, every religion, every mythology, every philosophy has tried in its own way to explain the same terrifying truth. Human beings, you and I, possess creative power far beyond what we usually recognize. Not omnipotence, not literal divinity over the universe, but something as extraordinary. The power to shape reality psychologically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, and materially through consciousness and action. And once a person truly understands that, they stop living like a victim of existence and begin living like a creator within it. The first prison is psychological. Before human beings are limited externally, they are usually limited internally by beliefs, conditioning, fear, identity. Most people inherit mental boundaries long before they ever test reality for themselves. They grow up hearing, you can't do that. That's unrealistic. People like you don't succeed at this or that. It's not possible. Play safe. In this family, we can't do this or that. We have this or that illness. And over time, the mind begins accepting inherited limitation as objective truth. But one of the most life-altering realizations a human being can have is understanding that many perceived limitations were psychological agreements, not absolute laws. And the moment consciousness expands beyond inherited conditioning, possibility expands within it. Human beings speak reality into shape constantly, not magically, psychologically. The words you repeat become internal architecture. Identity forms through repeated language. I'm not capable. I'm unlucky. I'll never succeed. I'm difficult to love. In my family, we don't blah blah blah. Repeated thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs influence perception. Perception influences behavior. Behavior influences outcomes. And eventually, people begin to live inside realities their own minds helped construct. This is why self-concept matters profoundly, because human beings rarely move beyond what they fundamentally believe that they deserve. Attention is one of the most powerful forces in human life because attention directs energy. Whatever consistently occupies your attention begins influencing your emotional reality deeply. Fear, possibility, beauty, bitterness, opportunity, hopelessness. The mind cannot continuously focus on something without being shaped by it psychologically. And this is why environments matter, media matters, conversations matter, mental habits matter, because attention is creative. It determines what grows inside the mind. And once a person consciously learns to direct their attention intentionally, their internal world begins transforming. Most people never access their full power because fear is easier than responsibility. Realizing your influence over your life can initially feel empowering, but it is also terrifying. Because once you recognize your agency, you can no longer comfortably remain passive forever. You must confront your choices, your patterns, your excuses, your self-sabotage, your avoidance, your laziness, and you must take responsibility for the creation of the life that you desire. And boy, I'll tell you for free, that is a heavy responsibility. So many people unconsciously prefer helplessness because helplessness removes responsibility. But powered consciousness changes everything. It asks, what can I create from here? Even after pain, even after failure, even after collapse. One of the most extraordinary powers humans possess is meaning creation. Two people can experience the same event and emerge psychologically transformed in completely different ways. Why? Because reality is not experienced purely objectively. It is filtered through interpretation, meaning, narrative, perspective. One person says, "This failure proves I'm worthless." Another says, "This failure refined me." Same event, different psychological reality. That is power, the power of interpretation. And once people understand that meaning itself is partially constructed, they begin reclaiming authorship over their inner life. Imagination is not childish. Human civilization exists because of imagination. Every invention, every city, every company, every piece of art, every movement, every revolution existed first inside someone's mind. Imagination is creative intelligence, the ability to envision what does not yet physically exist, and highly conditioned societies often suppress imagination early because imaginative people become difficult to control. They question limits, they question systems, they question inevitability, they envision alternatives, and imagination combined with action becomes transformational power. Your self-concept quietly changes your entire life, not just confidence, identity. What you believe is available to you. Who you believe yourself to be, what treatment you tolerate, what goals you pursue, what opportunities you notice. People often attempt to change outcomes without changing identity first, but identity acts like an internal ceiling. If deep down you believe I am not worthy of this or that, people that look like me don't get this or that, people that come from where I come from don't reach this or that, You will unconsciously sabotage experiences that contradict that identity. That is why inner transformation matters profoundly, because external life often reorganizes itself around internal belief systems. Not every thought creates reality instantly, but repeated mental patterns shape behavior consistently, and repeated behavior shapes life. People underestimate how much their internal dialogue influences energy, confidence, resilience, relationships, opportunities, risk-taking, creativity. A person who fundamentally believes I can adapt moves through life differently than someone who believes I am doomed. The nervous system responds differently. Decision making changes, perception changes, persistence changes. This is why mindset matters, not because thoughts are magic, but because consciousness influences behavior profoundly. The thing is, you are already God over your life, whether you realize it or not. You already create your reality, whether you realize you're doing it or not. You're repeating limiting stories. You're repeating destructive patterns. You're repeating inherited fears. And your unconscious creation is producing repetitive suffering. Because what remains unexamined often remains automatic. This is why awareness matters. Awareness interrupts unconscious repetition. It allows a person to ask, is this belief actually true? Is this identity still serving me? Is this life consciously chosen? And that questioning becomes liberation. One of the most powerful acts in human life is conscious self-authorship, choosing deliberately who you become, what you value, what meaning you assign to life, what emotional patterns you reinforce, what future you pursue, because many people live reactively, conditioned by fear, habits, trauma, expectation. But conscious people begin living creatively instead, not controlling everything, but intentionally participating in their own evolution. And that changes existence completely. You are not small. This is perhaps the deepest point of all. Human beings have been taught to perceive themselves as insignificant far too often. But look carefully at what humans already do. We create civilizations, reshape environments, invent technologies, compose symphonies, write stories, transform consciousness, influence generations, imagine realities that never existed before. That is extraordinary. And while humans are imperfect and fragile and mortal, there is still something astonishing about consciousness itself, the ability to perceive, imagine, create, transform, love, destroy, rebuild, dream. That creative force within human beings is powerful beyond what many fully recognize. So when I say you are a god, I do not mean you control the universe absolutely. I mean something perhaps equally profound. You are not powerless inside your existence. You are in charge of it. You are a conscious creator within reality. You are a meaning maker, a builder, a perceiver, an imaginer, a being capable of transforming thoughts into action, action into structure, structure into destiny. And once a human being truly understands their participation in reality creation, they stop shrinking themselves into inherited limitation. They begin choosing consciously, speaking consciously, thinking consciously, living consciously. Because they finally realize their mind is not a cage by default. It is a creative instrument. And perhaps the greatest tragedy in human life is not failure, but dying without ever discovering how powerful your consciousness truly was. I'd like you to answer these questions carefully. Number one, have you ever had a moment in life where you realized your thoughts, beliefs, or words were shaping your reality more than you previously understood? Number two, what belief about yourself has shaped your life the most so far? Number three, what identity are you unconsciously rehearsing every day? Number four, if you truly believed you had the power to create your life, what would you stop tolerating immediately? Number five, what painful experience in your life eventually changed meaning over time? I'd like to read your answers in the comments. It has been my pleasure as always to sit with you. This has been the Human Mirror. Look closely, you are never invisible. I'll see you in the next reflection.